Iran is not just a nation, it is a civilization with one of the oldest continuing history, vibrant culture, and a citizenry which is proud of it all. Except the part where the Zoroastrians were persecuted. Anyway, fast forward to today, and in its efforts to maintain its hold on power, the current regime in Iran has not focused on the problems people are facing, be it the economic downward spiral, stifling of people's voices and opinions, or the sham elections. The Islamist regime of Iran is doing everything to bring shame to this proud civilization and its citizens. This has led to a lot of resentment among the people, and they are out on the streets protesting. In such a situation, the Shah's son, Reza Pahlavi, is making a comeback into Iranian politics with the slogan of a secular republic, and given the circumstances, this could be a major turning point. Hi and welcome. This is TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Shubhangi, and in this video, I will tell you how the exiled son of the previous ruler of Iran is making a grand comeback into Iranian politics. Let's begin. The domestic situation in Iran has become really vulnerable since the pandemic started, and things have only gone south since the sham elections and botched up victory of the Islamist hardliners recently. The economy is in shambles, the rights of citizens are being eroded with every passing day, and space for putting out opinions is decreasing. All these factors, among others, are the reason behind increasing discontent, but due to the nature of the regime, these voices are not getting a unified leadership. However, things have taken a sudden turn with Iran's exiled Prince Reza Pahlavi upping his criticism of the Iranian leadership and possibly making a grand comeback in Iranian politics. Iran's exiled Prince Reza Pahlavi said in a statement released on Saturday that Iranians aspire to be citizens, not Khomeini slaves and vassals. He praised the continued strikes and rallies as proof of, and I quote, unprecedented national cooperation in civil disobedience. Reza Pahlavi, the heir to Iran's last Shah, has declared civil disobedience against the Islamic Republic of Iran. He advocates for the abolition of the clerical state and a popular referendum on Iran's future political structure. In his message, the prince commended 3-week-old strikes led by contract workers in the oil and petrochemical industries, which were joined by workers from more than 100 state-owned companies. Labor action, he argued, when combined with various protests by retirees, farmers, and the general public, is sure evidence of civil disobedience solidarity. Also remember that in Iran's recent election, only 48% of the voters turned up. The National Council of Resistance of Iran, an exiled opposition party, organized protests in Berlin and elsewhere, seeking the prosecution of the Islamic Republic's newly elected president, Ibrahim Raisi, who is accused of crimes against humanity. In addition to this, on July the 8th, Reza Pahlavi met the leaders of 50 prominent Jewish American organizations in an unprecedented move, requesting their assistance in maintaining pressure on the Islamic Republic and supporting individuals opposed to the clerical regime. Do you see what's happening here? Despite the fact that there is no cooperation or coordination between Reza Pahlavi's supporters, the Resistance Council, and other opposition groups, they all have the same goal of destabilizing the Islamic Republic of Iran. However, with the resentment within Iran among the citizens growing at an unprecedented scale and the prince backing the establishment of a secular republic in Iran, the people can very well consider Prince Reza as the leader worth putting their bets on. The timing that he has chosen to come to the support of the protests in Iran against the current regime may expedite the entry of Shah's son's grand comeback into Iranian politics. Ibrahim Raisi, a hardcore Islamist, is simply being imposed upon the Iranian people by the regime, and they are not liking this. The propping up of Ibrahim Raisi has not gone down well with many Iranians who have boycotted the elections, and the turnout has been at a historic low. The legitimacy of Iran's democratic and electoral process is undermined internationally, which will definitely have a bearing on the way the world deals with Iran. Members of former Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini's family are now speaking out against the present regime as well. Hassan Khomeini, grandson of Ayatollah Ruhollah, called out the Iranian Guardian Council's brazen engineering of the polls. He said, "Were I among the eligible candidates, I would have withdrawn my candidacy." On 31st of May, Hassan Khomeini told a crowd of Iranians that the new government which will be formed will not have the backing of the public and thus will be an illegitimate one. As if the sham elections were not enough, the current regime in Iran is trying to stifle the voice of Iranian citizens by increasing surveillance and decoupling the citizen from the international online community. Iran's parliament is debating legislation that would make it illegal to use overseas social media platforms and instant messaging services, threatening to plunge the country into cyber darkness. The measure would also make it illegal to utilize virtual private networks and proxy services to circumvent internet blocks and bans in a country with one of the strictest online censorship regimes in the world. Critics now say the authorities have settled on the purgatory of Islamic North Korea, characterized by economic isolation, poor infrastructure, unbridled repression, and the detachment from the rest of the world. And at a time like this, the exiled Prince Reza has come out criticizing the regime and giving voice to the people of Iran who find themselves leaderless and helpless. Shah's son, Reza Pahlavi, by coming in support of the protests and calling for the establishment of a secular republic, may very well galvanize all the people that are critical of the regime but do not see eye to eye for the replacement. He has the support of many nostalgic Iranians who support the return of the monarchy by making it public that he wants the establishment of a true republic. The younger generation and many other people might as well join him going ahead. The situation in Iran is precarious. People are angry, vulnerable, and helpless. On top of that, the regime is only concerned with maintaining its hold on power. In such a scenario, the entry of a progressive-looking Reza Pahlavi, who belongs to the son of the earlier ruler of Iran, could be a ray of hope for the Iranian people.